It is fantasy football playoff time, people, and it's time for one last look at our lineups before the Week 15 action begins. And we're going to help you out in this week's Sunday Morning Quickie. Welcome on into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I want to thank you all so very much for joining me on this Fantasy Football Playoff Sunday. And if you allow me, I'd like to help you set your fantasy football lineups. It is Sunday, December 14th. This is episode 213, and it's time for our Week 15 Sunday Morning Quickie. I hope you guys did survive the Kyle Pitts breakout on Thursday night. In this show, though, we are going to see who's in, who's out for Week 15. We will review our show starts of the week, and then we'll let you know the very best way to get the most updated news to help you set your fantasy football lineups. But before we do any of that, I'd like to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, let's see who's in, who's out, who's hurt, and who's not in this week's Actives Inactives. We're going to start out by reminding you there are no NFL teams on bye this week, so we will have a full slate of games and teams to choose from today. All right, let's start with players who are out this week due to being on the IR, or in the case of Brandon Ayuk, Hadouken! More like IU can't, as he was sent home as he's been on the left squad designation. Never heard of that before, but it seems pretty clear that he is no longer with the team. He is ineligible to return to the San Francisco lineup this season. Other players that have similar situations for different reasons. Trey Benson had his 21-day practice window opened approximately 25 days ago. That time has passed. He was not activated by the end of that window, which means by rule his season is over. Jerome Ford was also placed on the IR this week, ending his season for all intents and purposes. Garrett Wilson has served is not right. He's missed the 4 games minimum required for being on the IR. However, his 21-day practice window was not open this week, and he was not activated yet to return. And Marshawn Lloyd, Green Bay running back, was designated to return, had his practice window open as he was missing time with a calf injury, and now he has an aggravated hamstring injury. This guy cannot get healthy. We'll see if he gets back on the field or not. He doesn't miss any more time officially, but he hasn't been activated from the 21-day practice window quite yet. All right, now for players who are out on a shorter-term basis. Nonetheless, it is playoff time, and these guys are not going to be able to help you today. Some names are big, some names are small, but we want to go through them all just in case they affect your other players on your team. Starting off with Dylan Sampson, Cleveland running back, is not going to play today. They activated 2 guys from the practice squad. I don't have it in front of me. It was Travion Williams, and I forget the other guy, and those are going to be the main backups to Kinshawn Junkins right now. David Njoku is also out today. Harold Fannin has been the star between the two, but now there will be no competition for targets. For the Browns tight end position, Harold Fannin will be the best player there. T. Higgins, who has suffered a concussion twice in the last 3 weeks, has been ruled out with a concussion. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to miss another game with that heel injury. We have a couple of quarterbacks for the New York Jets who are out. Tyrod Taylor, who left last week's game early with a groin injury, and Justin Fields, who was out last week with a knee injury. Both are out once again today, which means Brady Cook will be the starting quarterback for the Jets. I think it's Adrian Martinez they promoted to be backup in that game. Mason Taylor, New York Jets tight end, is also out today. Marquis Hollywood Brown for Kansas City is not going to play today for personal reasons. Jayden Daniels is out today with an elbow injury, although they're not shutting him down. He's not been cleared for contact, so he's probably going to take a week or 2 to get back into practice. I don't expect him back on the field, but we'll see. They already did it once. Let's see if they'll do it again. Geno Smith is not going to play today, meaning Kenny Pickett will have the revenge game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Pat Bryant, Denver wide receiver, I believe he's a rookie. He's been kind of getting a snap count increased week by week, overtaking Troy Franklin just a little bit there. He is out today, though, which means Cortland Sutton will be the main man, and Troy Franklin might get back on there to be the number 2 receiver. And Alvin Kamara is going to miss, I believe this is his third. It might be his fourth game. A third or fourth game he's now missed. I think it's his third game, actually. So he's going to be out again today. Devin Neal will be the primary running back for New Orleans. Now for players that are questionable, we've got a range of outcomes for these guys, but they're all listed as questionable going into Sunday's games. Starting off with Cedric Tillman, Cleveland wide receiver, once again is dealing with a concussion. Remember, he was out like 9 weeks last week, the concussion, give or take. There's not a great set of news on him because he's not a main player, so it's not one of those tickers that come by from like the Adam Schefters and stuff. So right now I'm going to put him as unlikely to play, as he missed practice twice this week with a concussion, and being that he has a history of not recovering from them quickly, I'm just going to put unlikely to play. But again, to check the last minute news, go to wingmanfantasyfootball.com, and that inactive list will let you know for sure. I'm going to trend on an unlikely to play. I'm not always correct. That's just the way I'm reading this one right now. Odunze, however, there is some news here. He missed last week with a foot injury, and right now they're listing as optimistic that he will play. Rashod Bateman, Baltimore wide receiver. Again, not clear news updates going overnight here. He did miss practice twice this week. I'm going to say he's unlikely to play. Again, these not major players, so if you need to know if they're going to play or not, whether or not they affect your starter, like Zay Flowers or someone else, or DeAndre Hopkins, for example, check Wingman Fantasy Football 90 minutes prior to kickoff. Emari Demarcado, who's missed the last couple of games, is expected back on the field today. And this one's kind of big news, guys. Nick Chubb, Houston running back, is dealing with rib injuries. He is not expected to go today. So it should be Woody Marks all by himself. Mixed in with Agumbawale. And then we have Parkr Washington, missed last week with a hip injury. He's expected to get back on the field this week. And Quentin Johnston, I wish he had a little better news reports going on here in terms of clarity. He's dealing with a groin injury. It popped up later in the week. I'm going to say he hopes to play, but he's not guaranteed to play. We're going to check that news inactive list 90 minutes prior to kickoff. Joshua Palmer, who missed last week, did get in limited practices all week. There's a decent chance he can play, but again, he's going to be kind of a game-time decision as well. Deebo Samuel popped up on the injury report this week, listed as questionable with an illness. He's expected to play. Chris Rodriguez, dealing with a groin injury for Washington, is a true game-time decision here, guys. It's a pretty good matchup this week against the New York Giants. So Chris Rodriguez is worth playing if he does play. However, if he's out, this might be a rebound game for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt to take advantage of this. Although he's had the opportunities before and hasn't always made up for it. But this might be a sneaky, an emergency flex. I'm not saying someone we're looking to play, but if you're all out of options and you see that Rodriguez is out, Krosky-Merritt might be the last minute dart throw that might save your season if you have one of those teams that are in need of desperate help. We have Josh Jacobs, is listed as questionable with a knee injury. Remember, he's just dealing with swelling, which gets worse from time to time, but there's no structural damage there. He is expected to play, and that is good news because Emanuel Wilson is actually a game-time decision. He plans to play with an illness, but it popped up late. They're going to see how he feels during pregame warmup. This one can go either way at this point. They've already elevated Pierre Strong, which is indication to me that they are not clear whether or not Emanuel Wilson will go, as I don't think Pierre Strong is a Josh Jacobs replacement. He's more of an Emanuel Wilson replacement. Also, keep in mind, Chris Brooks is in the backfield, more of a third down type back. But if Wilson is out, Chris Brooks would be the next man up if Jacobs is limited today at all. Kalif Raymond, he should play, Detroit wide receiver. Again, not a big-time player, so not great news reports from the big-time reporters here. So I'm going to put him here as a should play as he's dealing with an ankle injury. Devontae Adams is dealing with a hamstring injury, listed as questionable. He is expected to play. And Christian McCaffrey popped up later in the week with a back injury. However, he is expected to play. Now for players that had either injury designations throughout the week, but have since been removed have no injury designations going forward, and they all will play today. First, let's start with this guy. Phillip Rivers went from retired to practice squad to activated. and it appears that he will be the starter today for the Colts. However, Riley Leonard, who was listed as week to week, actually is off the injury report as well. So both these guys will be active and healthy. So I kind of expect both of them to get on the field in some capacity. Rivers getting a first shot. Let's see how he does. It was a little nerve-wracking there for the Colts. Devin Neal, New Orleans running back, was listed during the week, missing practice with an abdomen injury. I think it was just a day of rest. He is now off the injury report. He's good to go. Similar to Breece Hall, I think he missed Wednesday with a knee injury. It's just kind of a maintenance and rest day. He is off the injury report. Breece Hall is good to go. Woody Marks, we mentioned it. He was dealing with an ankle injury. Again, just getting some time off during the week or limited sessions. But Nick Chubb is not going to play today. Woody Marks is going to play today and have a huge opportunity against the Arizona Cardinals. Theo Johnson, New York Giants tight end, is expected to play today. He's off the injury report, with a toe injury. Tyron Tracy left their last game. That was 2 weeks back because they were on bye last week. He is since off the injury report. So all those people who spent all that fab money on Devin Singletary, well, I'm not saying you can't play Singletary, but he's not going to have the backfield to himself. Aaron Jones, dealing with that shoulder injury that he's had for the last 3 weeks or so, keeps getting banged up, but he's off the injury report and going to play today. Mark Andrews was dealing with a glute injury, had a pain in the booty, but he is now since off the injury report. He is good to go in the best of matchups against the Cincinnati Bengals. Alec Pierce will play today, coming off that rib injury. He's good to go. Dalton Kincaid played last week. Now he's off the injury report. He should be able to build off that good game last week. Similar to Jake Ferguson, he will play today. CeeDee Lamb cleared the concussion protocol. He will play. And Devon the Man Achane.
Now you're a man. Man.
He had those rib injury that knocked him out of last week's game, although I think they sat him out as precaution as they were destroying the Jets. He is off the injury report. They are playing Monday night. He is expected to play, as like I said, no injury designation. However, if you have Achane on your team and in your lineup, I would do my darndest to find a way to get Jalen Wright or at least Ollie Gordon as a super insurance policy. There's no reason to play any running back on Sunday ahead of Devon Achane, but you should have an insurance policy just in case some news changes overnight. And DK Metcalf, who was hospitalized with some sort of stomach ailment, is off the injury report and is going to play today. All right, let's go over some of the weather out there in our outside games this week just to see if anything is worth mentioning here. All right, we got a lot of games outside today, so I don't have a quick count. Looks like 11 games, give or take, so we'll go through them as quick as we can, as nothing's overly concerning. Just want to give you the breakdown if you find these situations concerning. All right, 1 o'clock, Cleveland at Chicago. Going to be cold, cold, cold.
You're as cold as ice.
It's going to be 10 degrees out there, guys. Should be no precipitation, clear day in terms of sun and clouds and stuff, but it's going to be a little windy, nothing overly concerning, but 11 miles per hour. It's not nothing. So it's going to be super cold, clear day with mild wind, moderate winds. We got the Baltimore at Cincinnati, very similar to Chicago here, 12-degree temperature, very, again, freezing, but clear and mild winds at 7 miles per hour. The LA Chargers are playing in Kansas City, another game in the teens, 16 degrees. However, it should be clear skies and very mild winds at 4 miles per hour. Buffalo at New England, 31 degrees in a Foxborough, but there's a 100% chance of snow in this game, and the winds are light at 7 miles per hour. I'm not making predictions. I'm just going by what I noticed last week. Both of our snow games last week at the Cincinnati, who'd they play last week? Is that Buffalo? Cincinnati, Buffalo, and the Tennessee Titans and Browns. Both those games were shootouts. I'm not saying it was because of the snow, but in our short sample size, snow games equal a lot of points, and Buffalo and New England can shape up for a high-scoring game here. All right, Washington at the New York Giants, 28 degrees, clear skies, and mild, moderate winds at 12 miles per hour. Las Vegas is going to Philly, another 1 o'clock game. It is going to be very cold there as well, 28 degrees. It may snow, but this one's our windiest game. Not super, super windy, but at 16 miles per hour. The way Jalen Hurts is throwing it, they might be doing more work on the ground today. All right. New York Jets are in Jacksonville. Relatively warm at 72 degrees, cloudy and 12-mile-per-hour winds. Green Bay at Denver. This is surprisingly, I was surprised going through all the weather here. This sounds like a beautiful day. 63 degrees in Denver, clear skies, and the winds are topping off at 3 miles per hour. Should be a gorgeous day in Denver today. A 4 o'clock game, Tennessee at San Francisco. Should be nice and cool at 55 degrees. Should be a light fog, and the winds will be minimal at 3 miles per hour. Indianapolis Colts heading into Seattle. Again, very temperate at 54 degrees, but there's a likelihood of rain at 63% chance of rain. And again, winds are mild at 7 miles per hour. And on Monday night, Miami's heading into Pittsburgh. It's going to be cold, 19 degrees. We saw Tua overcome the 40-degree weather and have a good first quarter against the Jets. Let's see how he handles the freezing temperature in Pittsburgh on Monday night. Skies should be clear, however, and the winds will be mild. So all of our games today are the winds are 16 miles per hour or less. Most of them are under 10 miles per hour. More than half the games are clear, but more than half our games are freezing cold, 28 degrees or less. All right, guys. Now let's get into this week's starts of the week. Bring it in. Take a knee. Who wants in?
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
All right, son, don't let me down. You're in.
Wingman Fantasy Football starts of the week.
All right, guys, he wasn't able to tell you himself, but I'm going to let you in on my co-host Bernie's starts of the week for week 15, playoff time. All right. Starting off with Bernie's starts of the week at quarterback is Shedeur Sanders up against the Bears, who give up the 4th most points to the quarterback position. Shedeur Sanders is projected for 14.5 points. His running back start of the week is Jordan Mason, projected at 7.3 points, up against the Dallas Cowboys, who give up the 6th most points to the running back position. And his wide receiver start of the week is Jaylen Waddle.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle.
Jaylen Waddle projected at 11.9 points up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who give up the 6th most points to the wide receiver position. And these are Bernie's Week 15 starts of the week. All right, guys, it's time for me to let you in on my starts of the week for Week 15. All right, my start of the week at quarterback for Week 15 is Brock Purdy, projected at 20 points. The San Francisco 49ers are playing against the Tennessee Titans, who give up the 10th most points to the quarterback position. My running back start of the week is Woody Marks. Projected at 11.7 points, having the backfield to himself today in a super matchup against the Arizona Cardinals, who give up the 4th most points to the running back position. Woody Marks is a smash play today. And my wide receiver start of the week seems like it's cheating, but he's been really bad this week, ranked at 31st in terms of points per game. Justin Jefferson with a chance to rebound and save face for his season in your playoffs, projected at 12.8 points against the Dallas Cowboys, who give up the most points to the wide receiver position. And those are my Week 15 starts of the week. All right, guys. Hey, I just want to let you know, as there's going to be some last-minute news with some of these questionable guys that I mentioned before. So to get the most updated, most accurate news at the last minute here, just go to our website at wingmanfantasyfootball.com. If you go over there, guys, we've got a lot of different news sections. We've got a news aggregator on there. We also have social media posts from prominent reporters such as Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Pro Football Talk, Around the NFL, and Underdog Fantasy. They're essentially Twitter feeds without having to log in or be tracked. It's just a way to scroll and get the news with no ads, no logging in. It's so nice and anonymous, just to get way to get the best news for you. Also on there is an inactive list that populates approximately 90 minutes prior to kickoff. There's also weather tiles on the very bottom of the page to get weather for our NFL cities. Guys, good luck today. Man, it is playoffs. I'm excited. We're going for it. If you want to get a little further breakdown of our NFL previews, our last show that just came out, just a little deeper dive in why some of these guys are must starts and must sits this week. So go ahead and check that out if you have a little more time on your hands. But with that being said, you can find our audio feeds on your favorite podcasting platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and the Odyssey app. Just search Wingman the League and we'll come to the top of your search. Hey, and while you're there, hit the follow button and leave a 5-star rating. And don't be afraid to spread the word. Let your friends know about our show. That's how we get new listeners. We appreciate that so very much. And if you want to see our show, we do have our YouTube channel with our beautiful ballroom set with our Christmas decorations. Go ahead and find us on YouTube at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube or youtube.com/@wingmanfantasyfootball. They both get you there the same way. And when you're there, guys, do me that favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and leave a comment. You got any start-sit questions? I will answer those as soon as I see them. All right, guys, good luck today. It is playoff time, and I'm hoping you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hope you didn't have to play Kyle Pitts on Thursday night. And with that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty. We will see you in the semifinals. All right, we'll see you next time, guys.